Oh, okay. And so those would be 2 brands of cold cuts that would be acceptable.
Correct.
And does it matter whether a person orders turkey or roast beef or ham, or are they all acceptable?
In the book, it'll tell you what is acceptable at certain times in the program. And it does eliminate certain types of meats in the first 6 weeks as well. So,
what about dairy?
Dairy is not eliminated. Unless you have a lactose problem, then yeah, you obviously would eliminate the dairy because of those reasons. But there are certain milks that are on the program that you can have: butter, certain sour creams. So especially cheese. You can definitely have cheese on the program as well. So a lot of kids like their string cheese, and you can have it. It's all in this food list book. So there's Feingold Stage 1 and Feingold Stage 2 in the same book, and you literally go through the list. It tells you the brand name, and then it tells you what products under that brand are acceptable during that time in the program.
And talk about the stages, Stage 1 and Stage 2. What does that mean?
So Stage 1 is the first 6 weeks of the elimination. That's when you are learning about the program. You're eliminating lots and lots of types of foods and brands, and starting to eat in a way that there's really no way to have reactions to foods. Nothing is really being brought into your system that you can react to. Once you've gone through the first 6 weeks, then you move into Stage 2, and that's for life. You start reintroducing foods back into your system. You go through the book, you find the foods that you like, you find the brands that work, and you start reintroducing them. If you have a reaction to that particular food, whether it be something on the skin like, hives or eczema or something like that, or you realize that there's a behavioral problem associated with this food, then you know that that is something that cannot remain in the diet, and you keep it out forever.
Headaches, joint pain,
headaches especially,
nausea, digestive problems.
Yes.
Emotional distress, irritability, things like that.
Yes.
Would all be things to look for.
Yep. And food additives have been linked to things like reproductive malfunction, cancer, certain cancers, behavioral problems, migraines. I mean, it just runs the gamut of all different types of issues that your body can have from certain foods.
And the inflammatory reaction that it causes within the body.
Yes, yes.
Well, I would imagine a person would have a much stronger immune system if it was free to be able to fight whatever would be challenging the body ordinarily, instead of poaching energy from the body to be able to fight the additives that are in the foods that are attempting to be digested and processed through.
That is absolutely correct. And one of the things that I say when I speak to a group of people, especially parents in special education organizations, that this program doesn't cure autism. It doesn't cure ADHD, but it peels away all the minutia. It gets rid of all the extra stuff that is attacking your system, so that you can get down to the business of just treating the specific issue with the child or an adult. And you don't have, a lot of times you're fighting something with something that's detrimental to your body. So you're kind of fighting this losing battle. If you get rid of all of these additives and all these fake products being put into your system, then you just have this one certain issue that you can deal with. And a lot of people are finding that while they still might need some form of medication for their child, stimulant medication, they're not using a dose as high as they were using.
With less, right?
Yes.
Or none at all.
Exactly, exactly. Some people have eliminated the medications altogether, but that's by the child, by the person, not something that we recommend doing without talking to your doctor and making sure that it's okay to do that.
Tell us a little bit about the Feingold Association.
So we are a group of parents and professionals who volunteer our time. We are not paid.
You're not paid?
No, not at all.
For doing any of this?
No, I'm not.
So when you speak around and you're an advocate for this organization,
I am. Why
do you do it?
Because I've seen what the Feingold program has done in my family. I've seen the positive changes in my family, and I believe in it. It's a program that I have seen work, that has opened my eyes to really the poisons that are in our foods, and I really believe that people can benefit from it, that there's absolutely no reason why people should not be doing this. Even if you are a believer in medications, there's nothing bad about the Feingold program. There's really no reason why anybody shouldn't be doing it.
Well, that's just it, because regardless of what choices a person decides to make in their life, you're going to have better results having a healthier body than you are having a body that's not as healthy.
That's right. And one of the things we discovered, which was a shock to us, my son has severe hemophilia, and he cannot have anything with aspirin in it. And as I was researching Feingold, I realized that a lot of these artificial additives are aspirin-based. And that was one thing that really kind of pushed us over the edge as far as making sure we eliminated all these foods, because there is nothing that can come from this good, as far as hemophilia goes, when you introduce an aspirin-based additive into his diet.
How long should it take for a person who's begun this program to start to see results?
They say up to about 10 days. In 3 days, we saw some changes in my son. We have a friend who would see him every day, and she noticed before we did that the dark circles were gone under his eyes. And that was probably within day 5. But usually, you should give it up to 10 days to really get your system purged of all of these additives and getting used to having something new introduced. But the 6 weeks is really the litmus test for all of it.
In terms of the major food producers, which food producers tend to work best with the parents who are interested in doing a program like this for their families?
Well, it depends on if you're in the United States or in Europe.
Is Feingold worldwide?
It is, but the food manufacturers, the multinational companies, they do have different standards in Europe. Years ago, there was a law passed by Parliament that said that they had to disclose the artificial ingredients being used in their foods. And instead of putting warning labels on and telling people what to look out for in the food, they decided to go natural. So they now have 2 different production lines, one for the United States where they still put the artificial products in, and then one for Europe where everything is all natural. So if you go to McDonald's in the United States and you get a strawberry sundae, you're going to get red 40. If you go to McDonald's in Europe and you get a strawberry sundae, you're going to get strawberries. So, and it's that's just the way it is.
What if somebody wants to be even more proactive and take this beyond the foods that they choose? What if they want to be more proactive? What would you recommend they do to bring about change in how foods are made within the United States?
Well, one voice can't get much done. A lot of people need to band together and go to their leaders, talk to people, make sure that people know. Michelle Obama is doing a great job with, healthy kids and healthier eating, but if you're feeding your children foods with aspartame in them, if you're feeding children diet foods that might have artificial coloring, you're only doing part of the job. You're not eliminating the worst parts of these foods. So we need to really get people to see the whole picture, not just eliminating fats and sugars, really eliminating the artificial part of our food.
From your vantage point, Lisa, where do you see the food industry going these days? Is it moving more towards things natural? Is it moving more towards engineering foods and it becoming more artificial? What do you think?
I think it goes more, they're staying more with the artificial, I believe, because it's cheaper for them.
So it's just a matter of dollars and cents?
Absolutely. Money talks. When you have science and you have politics and you've got politicians who are willing to back what the lobbyists for the food companies are requesting, and it's cheaper for the food companies to make these foods with these additives, it all works against the better good of the people.
And there are critics who say that the food companies are in cahoots with the drug companies because the food companies putting these additives in the foods create conditions that the drug companies get to treat.
Yes. And of course the drug companies give you these little pills that have artificial dyes on the outside, so they're easier to swallow. So, and I actually showed that at the meeting that you had attended, and I took out an ADHD medication and I said, this is what is used to help a child with ADHD. Look what it's coated in. It was a blue and a yellow pill, and those colors were made from petroleum. So it's a battle that just keeps waging on.
In the couple of minutes that we have left, Lisa, what is it that parents need to know that we haven't discussed yet?
Parents need to know that I think everybody is aware that the foods we eat affect our health. What parents tend not to know or not realize most of the time is that the foods we eat also affect our behavior and our ability to learn. So the foods that your children eat, that you eat, really affect how you learn, what your abilities are as far as learning goes, and retention. If you cannot take in information and retain that information because the foods you're eating are causing all kinds of havoc in your brain, then the best thing to do is eliminate those foods.
Thank you, Lisa. I have to thank you so much for coming on the Wellness Spotlight today. You've just been a terrific guest, and this time has flown.
Yes, it has. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. This concludes another segment of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council's Wellness Spotlight. I'm Dr. Ken Friedman, President of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council, with Lisa Maniaci, reminding you that wellness works when you work it.